Hello Noah, how are you? Hola, soy Ricardo Campa, estamos en Headquarter TV y estamos muy contentos porque hoy podremos platicar con Noah Murphy, quien es el diseñador detrás del proyecto Space Hippie. Entonces, espero que les guste todo lo que vamos a hablar con él. Hi Noah, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine, man. First of all, I want to say thank you for giving you the time to do this. It is really important for me and, of course, to the Mexican consumer, the headquartered family, to know more about your project. So, can you introduce yourself and let us know a little bit your story with Nike, please?
My name's Noah Murphy-Reinhertz, and I'm the sustainable design lead at Nike. That's in the Innovation Space Kitchen. So we're kind of the furthest out group imagining what Nike and our products and sport really might be like 5, 10, 20 years from now. So the Move to Zero initiative itself is Nike's mission to get to zero carbon and zero waste future. So really to take our impact on the planet and say, hey, let's get that to be neutral, nothing. But ultimately, we have to be thinking beyond that and really just think about how are we designing products, making products in a way that's positive for the planet and positive for all of our athletes. When you see how athletes train, they've always got a moment of rest and recovery and regeneration for themselves. So we're really trying to embrace this optimistic urgency that we have to act today to have that really wonderful tomorrow. I think the future of any company really must get to a place where it doesn't rely just on extracting from the planet. We really have to think about how do we give back, I think.
First of all, I want to say congratulations, man. It's an amazing project, and I think it's for each designer will be amazing to have the opportunity to create for Nike a project like this. Who chose the name, and can you tell us a little bit about the story behind all the Space Hippie?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, okay, so if you're wondering about the name and the congratulations, this is the rest of the team here. This is really how the concept and the inspiration and in fact the name came about. I had spent about a year collecting materials, waste materials from all across Nike and from out in the world. And we brought them together in a brainstorm. And it was this team's kind of first time coming together, trying to work on a project. And it was right after that huge solar eclipse that came through in 2017. So we were all thinking about space and the cosmos. And as we were building with these materials, putting these scraps together, someone said, hey, this is kind of like we're making shoes in space, or you're fixing your shoes in a space station. It made us think of the movie The Martian, where he's farming potatoes in this ruined space station. And there was a moment there where the team, and it just started to go around the room, was like, oh, he's living off the land, but he's in space. That's like a hippie. He's a hippie in space. He's a space hippie. And the name just came out of that kind of fluid conversation. So we just said, hey, let's turn that around and let's say that there is no resupply mission coming to Earth either. We have to use just the things that are here, and we have to think in that same way. So that is really what became the scientific, sustainable underpinning of just using waste and just using things that were easily available.
For me, my first trip to Japan, for example, blew my head. I was discovering a lot of stuff, and it's really important, I suppose, for a designer, discover things every day, or every time that you have a chance to discover new things. The inspiration comes from outside, but also from the inside. So what's your main inspiration in the outside world?
One of the things that I really love to look at is both new and old ways of creating food. On the farming side, there's also these very old and new ways. So seeing these ways that you can act as an individual and do things, and then ways that science can transform how something is done completely. I love seeing that in food, and that always kind of inspires me to think about what are those two different sides of the coin for design. what's the thing that's science and way out on the edge, and then what's the thing that's really like human and recognizable and individual.
In the process to do a Space Hippie, or what kind of music you and your team were listening when you guys work on it?
Jay-Z, one of the designers, is really fantastic at making playlists. So like, if you want, we could send you the Spotify. But it's easy now, right? You're just like, okay, cool, here's the link. Yes. But there was a few. There was like some really new stuff. There was St. John, and but then also stuff like Paul Simon. So we had these really wildly contrasting musics that we were listening to the whole time. That was really, it was really cool, and it was always a part of it. We set up a small room in the space kitchen where we had all of the things we were working on, and having music in there and always having a different vibe when we stepped into that space was like really important.
Well, finally, I'd like to know how sustainable is NOAA in a daily basis.
I talked a little bit about the food as an inspiration. I think it's also really important when we think about what we can do individually for sustainability. What I try to do is to just know where most of the food that I'm getting comes from. If you know that chain, it really starts to help both with the transportation of food, but also with the livelihood of the people who are growing that food. So it's a really easy individual choice that people can make to start to connect directly to the people who are doing that. One of the things that I really made myself do was like commit to getting an electric car, and it's just a very simple Volkswagen. Okay, now what you're doing is you're plugging that into the grid every day, and that is energy that can ultimately come from the sun. Even if it doesn't today, that can be solar energy. So I think those are like two of the things that I really try to do for myself, because it's fun and it's tasty and it's a fun thing to drive, but also because they really push on the system in a great way.
We have a lot of consumers that are really interested in sneakers. Can you tell us your top 3?
One of my very favorites is the very first Flyknit Racer.
Okay.
I wasn't at Nike when that shoe came out, but I saw it, and to me that represented a company that was willing to completely transform how shoes were made. Another one that I love and that was an inspiration for the Space Hippie stuff was the HTM run boot. There was a high version of that was like a slip-on Chelsea boot. And we saw that concept and even some of the early prototypes, and we said, we've got to find a way to take Flyknit and FastFit and all these sustainable materials and do something that has that same feel like a boot. Yeah.
And the last one?
I think the Air Mock. I really love like sneakers that you can wear inside. But when we looked at what was a shoe type that like embraced relaxing, we really wanted to do something like that, like the Air Mock. The key thing, like the Space Hippie ethos, is start where you are, use what you've got. I think we've all got that ability to do something now, whether it's with these shoes or whether it's with whatever else you're going to do. And we'll only win if we all win. Let's go and do it.